Woohoo! Okay, we are celebrating today. It is a celebration over here at Clara CFO Group this week. We are having a lot of fun just celebrating a huge win for us as a business. And what is that? It's that we have been in business, operating, helping small business owners for 5 years. The statistics aren't great. 50% of businesses fail in the first 5 years. And I can tell you that we are so far away from failing. It is not even funny. We are so excited to be here to be able to bring you this content on YouTube and to be serving clients through CFO services. And overall, we are just thankful and happy to be here. We know that the entrepreneurial journey can be hard. And you might see an entrepreneur at one point in time and think, wow, they're like really doing it, they're killing it, or they're really growing their business, and you might not feel that way at a point in time. So I'm actually gonna take this opportunity to go ahead and talk to you guys about my entrepreneurial journey, because I find that it's super helpful to listen to how other people have done it, whether you have already done it and you're way past me in business, or if you're kind of aspiring to be, looking forward to the next thing, maybe you've just started. I want this to be a resource to you because everybody does things a little bit differently. And we're going to go through a couple other videos after this to kind of talk about actually dissecting some of the expenses. What did we do to actually get where we are now? We want to pull the curtains back and help you guys by telling the story of one entrepreneur, and that's going to be us today. If you like this type of story and like to hear what other entrepreneurs have done and how they've gotten to where they are, I highly recommend listening to the How I Built This podcast. It's hosted by Guy Raz, and it's like for, how like Uber started and how like huge companies that are publicly traded are started. So not saying I'm anywhere close to that, you guys. Just I'm very aware that I am nowhere near that. But what I love is I love hearing how people get to the next level in their business, and that inspires me. And so telling our story is really important. So I would love to hear, if you can put it in the comments down below, how many years have you been in business? Tell me. I would love to hear and cheer you on, because you guys, this road is hard and we need to recognize that, but it is also incredible. So it is definitely worth it. And we'll just go ahead and get started over here. So real quick, if you haven't already liked, subscribed, and hit the little notification button down next to the subscribe button, please go ahead and take a second to do that now. I actually would super appreciate it. We are so close to 35,000 subscribers, okay? And 35,000 seems like not really a milestone, maybe to a lot of people, but I really like the numbers 3 and 5. And for whatever reason, I just think 35,000 is a really cool number. So if you are listening to this right now, would you do me a huge favor and make sure you're subscribed? If I've provided any value to you over the past couple years, please be subscribed, okay? Because I really want to hit that goal in this week on our actual anniversary of 5 years. So where did it all begin? I'm not gonna go back to like my origin story and talk about my childhood and things like that, because that's gonna bore you guys. But what I wanna talk about is really like what kind of brought me to the trajectory of accounting and then starting my own business, and then some of the lessons I learned along the way. So when I started college, I basically was not interested in accounting at all. I loved business, but I wasn't really interested in going in that direction. I actually like the idea of an accountant was a bean counter, somebody who's sitting in a cubicle somewhere with a calculator. That was my image of an accountant. And I said, that sounds really bad. So I didn't want to do that. But so I was going for marketing and an international business degree. Is when I started college, that's what I was going to go into. But as I had accounting classes, I had accounting professors pull me aside and say, this makes sense to you, you might want to consider accounting. And then I had mentors that came in and they said, well, you don't have to do accounting, but if you understand accounting and you get it, then you understand the language of business and you can really do anything with that. So that kind of like pushed me over the edge, and I was a little bit kicking and screaming, but I declared accounting as a major and then ended up graduating with that and getting a minor in anthropology instead of international studies or international business. So that was, just taking me on the path of what does the accounting trajectory look like. There's this really kind of standard one of kind of pushing you towards accounting firms and getting your CPA license. So I ended up going that route. I did my master's out here at the University of Washington in accounting, and also did an internship with Ernst & Young, EY now. And, top accounting firm, one of the top accounting firms in the world, one of the big four. And really that was just an incredible experience overall. So the people that I worked with at EY really helped shape me as a leader and shape me as a professional. That helped me be able to walk into lots of different situations and be able to learn and grow. And that's what we have to do as entrepreneurs. So I think it actually kind of formed and shaped me in a really amazing way. But if you know anything about public accounting, you know that they work you hard. They work you hard. So there's the burnout that happens with the accounting profession. And, I can say that I truthfully loved all those people that I was working with at that point in time, but I, had to say goodbye. And I had to say goodbye for my own, personal life and trying to balance a family and, doing all the things. So I ended up voluntarily leaving that position after 5 years and going to work for a small engineering firm. Now, this is where small business accounting comes into my life, because I had done, the educational route and then public accounting. I was actually auditing public companies. We would be auditing the financial statements that go out to everybody who needs to look at financial statements. I mean, we need to make sure that those are correct, or materially correct, okay? So coming into a small business was actually a really big adjustment for me, way bigger than I thought it would be, because I thought, well, I have all this great education, I have all this great experience with these large firms, I'm going to be able to come in and rock it right away. And, I figured it out pretty quickly, but I could say that my experience didn't necessarily transfer super well to small business. What the huge companies that are publicly traded are looking at, those metrics and numbers, and what they care about and what I was doing for them really didn't have anything to do with what the small business owner really needs. And so I was coming in as a controller of this engineering firm, and figuring out how to run cash basis financials, which I figured out very quickly. But what are the key drivers for a small business, and what do we need to be thinking about? How do we manage cash? How do we open up another business account, and how do we use a line of credit appropriately, and how do we invoice our clients to where they pay us on time and we don't get stuck where we're not getting cash in the door? And how do we determine whether or not we can hire the next employee? How do we figure out how much workers' compensation insurance is? Kind of all of these things that my public accounting experience didn't prepare me for. And I remember just kind of learning on the job and figuring it all out and trying to Google stuff, and then realizing these answers aren't easy to find, and there isn't a go-to resource for that. So I actually remember telling someone at the time, I would love to have some type of resource where I can share what I've learned, because I feel like I had a big learning curve. I learned a ton, and I need to be able to share that information. So fast forward about 10 years, and this is where we are with a YouTube channel, and I am actually sharing that type of information right now with you guys all over the channel. So if you are not subscribed already, please go ahead and subscribe, because I'm sharing everything that I've learned and the path that I've taken. I'm sharing what could be helpful to you as well. So kind of working for the engineering firm, getting comfortable with that, it started to get to the place where I started to feel like I've got this down. We figured it out. We know exactly what we need to do in order to ensure success. We were hiring employees left and right, and we were growing. And there came to be a point in time where I started to get to a place where I was unsatisfied because I wasn't growing much more. And yes, there's always opportunities for learning and things like that. But what I realized was I was growing my knowledge base outward in how to run a business, which was great education as well. But I wanted to also go deeper into the accounting realm. So I decided at that point in time to start a side gig business. And that was in 2017. Actually, I had kind of researched a little bit in 2016, but it was in 2017 when I actually started the business and, put in my application for an LLC with my Secretary of State and decided, hey, I'm going to do something. I had all this kind of free mental capacity, if you will. It wasn't necessarily free time. It was I just felt idle. in the evenings and things where I was like, I could be doing more, and I could maybe be building something up that's more than what it is. So that first year, I was really just working during the day, trying to find clients and people to help. So I could work in the evenings or I could work on the weekends a little bit, and just trying to really do whatever I could. That meant kind of picking up random bookkeeping clients, and that meant setting up somebody's QuickBooks for the first time. Again, learning along the way. But all the while, I really knew that what I wanted to do was to provide financial, strategic advice for small businesses. I knew I didn't want to do bookkeeping, but there was a certain amount that I kind of needed to do it in order to advise on it. And so I was working and doing those things as a learning opportunity. Actually, a learning opportunity that was paying me because clients were paying me to do it. I knew I was extremely competent in order to figure it out. But being able to deliver those services to them was actually educating me all the more. So these, as my business grew, I was able to shift more and more services towards CFO services, because that really became the core function of what we did here, and it still is. And now CFO services make up 85 to 90% of our total revenue, and we don't do any bookkeeping and we don't do any tax preparation or anything like that. And that's exactly what I wanted. That is exactly what I wanted, and here we are. And I think like saying it aloud along the way helped it actually come to fruition. I knew that that's what I wanted, and I worked with a business coach early on who kind of helped me define that vivid vision of what I wanted to see in 3 years. And I can say that we have like pretty much made that happen in real life. So I think the big story of all of this is, now I've built this business that I feel like is exactly what I want it to be, and now it's expanding out into what's next. How can we help more people? One of our core values is making an impact, and I love the fact that YouTube helps us reach all these different small business owners and people who are helping small businesses. And now we try to think, what do they need? What do they need to help them along their journey? Okay, so that's just a little bit about my trajectory and where it's gone. And I mean, I know that when I plan for this business, I'm planning 5 and 10 years down the road, because I love this ability to help directly with the small business owner, because sometimes it can feel like a really lonely road. Okay, so we are here to support you. If that's something that you are interested in, you can check out some links in the description box below. But overall, we're just happy to have you here. And, thank you for taking a little bit of time and listening to our story and my story. Our stories are important, and, we need to tell our story as much as possible, and, understand, how it makes us who we are today. So again, tell me how many years have you been in business? I would love to know. I know my business is a baby business compared to some of you guys. So I want to look up to you, and as much as hopefully I can inspire a little bit, and I also want to look up to you and celebrate with you as well. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you later.